Don't fuck up. Don't fuck yourself. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Rude Cooking School podcast. I'm your host, John Hauser III. And this week, it's just going to be little old me talking to little big you. It's Christmas time. It's the Christmas season. Simply having, all that. I get a lot of questions about like what to buy, who to buy for, what kind of things should I give and or not give. And I think that's a really good question because I've been given some suspect things and some great things, and sometimes people just don't understand your needs and give you like weird things or funny things to them that just are like, oh, I'm just going to throw this in the trash, or that kind of thing. So I'm just going to talk quickly. This episode is probably not going to be super long, but I'm going to talk quickly about like things that are great to buy for people who like to cook. And then I've been going through a lot of like holiday gift guides because I look for myself as well. And run through a couple things that are good ideas or bad ideas. So up at the top, one thing that I love to get, and I mean, this is for the person in your life you want to kind of splurge for. Get a good knife for them. And when I mean a good knife, I mean a chef knife. If they don't have one. But knives are always good. Knives are always fun. You can never have enough of them. I have tons of them. And there's always a knife that can be replaced. I have some knives that are very good quality, and I have some knives that they're not trash, but if you got me a better knife, I wouldn't mind piecing it out or gifting the old knife to someone else who could use it, who doesn't have like a really good knife, which I've done before. Some people just have those, really crappy IKEA pressed metal knives, and they think they're fine with them until they get a real knife, and then they're like, holy shit. And re-gifting old knives is actually a really good sustainable way to not have to buy someone a really, really expensive knife, but also be like, hey, this meant something to me. I hope it means something to you. But I will say, before you gift it to somebody, make sure it's sharp. Go get it sharpened. That's a really cool idea. But knives are always a great idea. And chef knives in particular, pay attention to the size of that person's hand, and the length of the blade should, don't get them a really long knife if they have a very small hand, because the knife is going to be sort of heavy in their hand and it's going to be disproportionate. It's not going to feel right in their hand. Kind of take that into play. There are sets you can buy. I don't really recommend buying sets because I don't think you need all those weird little knives and shit. I mean, you should have a paring knife. You should have a utility knife. You should have a chef knife. You should have a bread knife. That's the basic right there. We'll get into like butcher. I mean, like cleavers and shit. There's a cleaver I want to talk about that's so fucking ridiculous. It's hilarious. But that's always a good idea, especially if they don't have a good knife and they're really into cooking. That's a good idea. If you don't want to buy a knife, something that I mentioned earlier about doing sharpening, you can buy gift certificates to local sharpeners in your area. Or, I have an Ace Hardware where I actually take my knives because they have a machine that does it by, you can select, like, I want the American sort of bevel or the Japanese bevel. They ask you, and they can put an edge on it depending on what kind of knife you're using. But they do a really good job, and it, sometimes they have, buy one, get one, or it's $5 a knife day, that kind of shit. And I really like to take advantage of that and just spend like $30 and get just a bunch of knives all done at once. And remember, the most like dangerous thing you can have in your kitchen is a dull knife. So always think about that. But if you don't want to spend the money or don't have the money to spend on someone to give them a knife, the gift of a sharp knife is a really good gift. It might not be the sexiest thing, but a person who likes to take care of their knives that they have currently will appreciate it because a sharp knife is fucking awesome. And it's not something that like you think of a lot. So like a gift certificate to Ace or a gift certificate to your local sharpener is a really good idea. Um, Aprons. I actually asked for a new apron this year, and I have a bunch of them, but I don't have a really nice one. When I was in Seattle with my wife and son, they have a we'll be talking about them later too. A sur la table. Um, it looks like sur la table. Uh, they have a really big one. I think it's the original one right there in Pike Place, and we went in and I just nerded out. All that stuff's like super sexy, and some of it's like goofy and expensive, and some of it's like really nice and expensive. And there was a really nice apron that they had that I was like, that's a really nice apron. It was heavy material. It was styled really nice. It had all the nice little pockets for little things. And I don't use an apron that much, and I should because I've ruined so many shirts. I still use my manky old fucking chef jacket from my culinary school, and that thing's seen better days. I've got a couple from there, and they're just, you know, they look like shit. They burn marks and sauce marks and shit that won't come out of it. And when you have company over and you're wearing it, they're like, ooh. Uh, but when I'm like making pizzas and stuff like that, I want to wear it because I've ruined so many shirts with pizza sauce or olive oil, or you get flour all over. I wear a lot of black. Flour is not a great thing. But my wife is probably upstairs right now making dinner, and she's probably wearing her apron. I got her a nice little apron a couple years ago, and she really really enjoys it. And I have a couple. I have my black and white stripe uh, culinary school aprons that I wear, um, and I have a couple just uh, white ones or just all black ones. But an apron's a really nice way to, I don't think a lot of people realize they should wear aprons when they cook, just because, you know, and I do it all the time. Like I just don't think about it until I spill oil splattered all over me, and then it just doesn't come out, and then I just got an oil stain on a black shirt, and that shit really shows up. It just doesn't go away. It's hard to get out once it's set or whatever. So, uh, yeah, that's a really good gift. Uh, what's a really fun gift, and it's dumb, and I don't know if most of you are like me, but I really enjoy like prep bowls, or little containers where I can like mince onion and then put it into that. Like they're so precious because a lot of times I just use like plastic takeout containers that I just keep, uh, and those work great. But sometimes it's just nice to have like a little bowl that just holds shit. And I use like um glass Pyrex ramekins a lot for that too. And those are great. And those make a great gift because they're just all around fucking heroes of the kitchen utility monsters. They're good for, prep. They're good for just like making a quick little sauce. Those are great for if you're doing like a custard and you just want to put them in a water bath. Like they hold up from the freezer to the oven. Like those guys are awesome. But sometimes like having like a little couple fancy bowls, like little pinched things to put like seasoning in, or something that you're going to take to the table that you want people to like ooh la la over, like if you make like a really good sauce for a steak, or like a extra pesto to put on this or that, or that kind of thing. Little bowls and they're all over the place. They're easy to source, they're cheap most of the time. And they're easy to find whatever style your friend or give the person that you're giving the gift is, like what their style is. You can always find a bowl that's their style. Like it's so cool to see how easy it is to just buy a bunch of like crazily decorated bowls and stuff. So keep that in mind. Just make sure they're, if they're not like just the glass ones, make sure that uh their kitchen's safe, because I see a lot of bowls um advertised on like Facebook and stuff. I don't think they're kitchen safe. They're very pretty bowls, but I don't think that they're kitchen safe or microwave safe, and that's you don't want to be fucking killing your friends. Um One thing that is fun and kind of special, if you go to antique stores, or even if you just like a vulture of like uh Goodwills or thrift stores, you can really find some fun old utensils like spoons or forks or knives. Like I have a set of knives and forks that are just our daily forks and knives. But I like to bastardize everything and add in one or two here and there if I find them. Like really, I'm a sucker for spoons. I really like a good spoon, and you know, if we find one at like a swap meet or a yard sale that somebody has just like really cool old silverware. I mean, it doesn't have to be silver; it can just be stainless. But and it's got like the filigrees, and it's really nice, but it looks nice and functional, and it should be functional. This stuff should be used. Like it's not. I mean, if you want to be delicate and put it in like a little fucking shadow box and put it on the wall, that's cool too. As a gift. But I would prefer, if you just got like a couple spoons, a couple forks, and like a couple like butter knives, and throw a little bow around them, like a little sprig of fucking rosemary in there. Like that's like a nice little presentation to somebody, to just like, hey, let's have dinner, or that kind of thing. But I always really enjoy old school vintage ass, and I'm talking like old. I'm talking like 20s and 30s, 10s, turn of the century kind of stuff. And you can find it pretty cheap still. Like, I mean, if you're getting like solid silver, that's ridiculous. But you can still find really, really nice pieces. We found a little like soup spoon that the bowl of it shaped like a scallop shell. And that is really cool. It's fucking super weird to eat out of, but I really enjoy it. I really like eating jello out of it for some reason. Um, and like I got a really big sauce spoon, and it's not like a serving spoon. I mean, I guess it would be considered a serving spoon, but it's not a big spoon. It's just big enough that like it's hard to kind of fit in your mouth. I mean, you can fit it in your mouth. I got a big mouth. But you know what I'm saying? It's bigger than the average spoon, but it's perfect for saucing things. It's perfect for like, when you're pan frying a steak and you just need that bigger spoon that's not a pain in the ass like a serving spoon, that you can just pop the butter over the steak. You've seen it on TV on the fucking Bear and shit, where they're constantly putting the hot oil over the steak, or that kind of thing. Or I have little spoons that are just kind of jacked up, that are thinner and kind of cheaper, that I wouldn't give to someone particularly to eat off of, but I use those for tasting spoons, and those are great because they could be reused, and just clean them off a little bit and then taste the next thing, or whatever. But like utensils are always fun. I would stay away from gadgets, because gadgets sometimes can be unitaskers and take up space, and depending on where you live, like that just kind of junks up your drawer. I still have shit up in my I have a couple drawers of like just culinary monstrosities, that garlic peelers and fucking there was like a viral thing going around a couple years ago that like it looked like you could just roll this thing over the garlic and it shred it, and someone I got one of those and it didn't work worth a shit, and still got it because I'm like, well, maybe I can sharpen the circles. I fucking know. But giving things like that is always suspect, because one, you don't know if they work. Two, a lot of times they are very specifically for a thing instead of like, spoons that could be used in multiple, areas, that kind of deal. Um, and some of them are bulky, and some of them are honestly, a lot of them are very just cheap. They're just made out of cheap plastic and they break. And I remember I had this Jamie Oliver thing when I was, Christ, this was like 15 years ago, and it was 20 years ago maybe. And it was like a thing that you put. It was made out of plastic. It was almost shaped like the smallest Russian doll in a Russian doll set. It was kind of shaped like that, wide at the top and then came out to like a head at the top. It was two pieces and it had a ceramic ball inside of it, and you would put spices inside of it and then shake it back and forth, and it would crush stuff. It was kind of like a handheld mortar and pestle. Or you could put like a couple tablespoons of olive oil and a splash of vinegar and shake it up, and the ball would agitate it, and then you'd have like a dressing and things like that. And it worked really, really well for like 2 weeks, and then the plastic started to crack, and then it finally just was worthless. And I liked it so much, I got another one, and then that one cracked in like 3 weeks, and then I was like, all right, fuck this shit. But again, like, it worked kinda for a little bit, and then ultimately I was just like, I just get a really nice mortar and pestle. I did. I got a really nice mortar and pestle from Williams Sonoma. That was a gift that I got myself, and I have it still. It because it's quality made. It was expensive, but I saved up and treated myself one day, and never looked back. That fucking janky ass plastic horseshit. So gadgets, probably not so much. Cookware is fun. Again, I go against the grain in terms of like, buy a set. Don't ever buy a set. Buying a set's horseshit. You get a bunch of stuff you don't like. You get a bunch of lids that you might not ever use. By the way, a multi-use lid is a great gift. Again, not sexy, but a lid that can fit on a bunch of different things. Those things are fun. But you know, uh an easy way to ease someone into enamel pans or pots. Like, I was just in an at home yesterday, and they have a really nice selection of pretty decently made cheap enamel cookware, and that stuff looked great. I was actually taking pictures and sending it. I was sending it to a friend of mine because they had asked about it. And like, I love enamel cookware. I use a lot of it. That and like steel pans, which are a pain in the ass to take care of in the beginning, but damn, they'll last forever. And now that I have them seasoned, like, eggs don't stick to them. They're fucking great. Like, I can't. And again, I got these on sale. Like, I got them at like an Ollie's because it was just some closeout thing that Williams Sonoma just couldn't get rid of. And I was lucky enough to just be at if you guys don't know what Ollie's is, it's like a closeout place, which is a great place to get like really cheap kitchen stuff. Like, if you want a waffle maker or an air fryer, they have them there pretty cheap, because a lot of places get these things in. They're like a fad, like air fryers, and all of a sudden everybody wants to buy them, and then everybody wants to buy them buys them, and then these companies are stuck with this stock that they can't get rid of, so they just put it all on a fucking pallet and then send it. They cheapen it out for them, and then they resell it at a lower price because they bought it super cheap. Then you get the savings. But I have a set of steel pans, and they're amazing. I can't talk about it enough. I got like a bigger frying pan, a smaller saute pan, a crepe pan, and a wok, and they all are great. I was just using the wok a couple days ago for something that wasn't even like stir fry, and it was just great to use. They hold on to heat really well. They heat up really quick. You can see they're great for steaks. So if you can find that kind of stuff, like gifting a pan like that, that's kind of special. Even better if you promise to use it to make them breakfast or dinner. Um, but yeah, I mean, buying cookware is pretty great. Nobody says no to cookware most of the time. Just don't buy any goofy stuff. Don't buy cheap non-stick stuff. That stuff is going to go bad super soon. I've never had success with ceramic stuff either. Like I just cook with high heat, and you're not supposed to cook with high heat on that stuff because it just ruins the ceramic stuff. So, you know, look it up and buy at your own risk. Um, spices are a great gift. Um, a lot of places sell spice mixes, and that's cool. I would just make sure that person, if you're gonna get them a spice mix, make sure that it, like, if it's like a barbecue spice mix, make sure that they do barbecue a lot. You know, if they do Mediterranean food a lot, get them a Mediterranean spice mix. Um, you know, a lot of spice mixes are decades old in people's spice cabinets, and you know those things never get thrown away. People never throw that shit away, and they should. You know, I'm guilty of it too. I have some pretty old spices that I got for one recipe, 2 years ago, and haven't reused it. You know, I'm looking at you, Seeds of Paradise or whatever the hell it's called. Um, but spice mixes are an easy way to sort of shorten your cooking experience. You know, the mise en place of making a spice mix can be easy if you have one of those little bowls, and just dole out a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then just make enough for the dinner you're making or the meal you're making, or so you don't have a lot left over, again, in case you don't eat that much of that kind of cuisine. But there's all kind of shit. Like, one thing that I've been seeing a lot are like, I think Fly by Jing does it. So you get like the chili crisp and their different kind of sauces, and you get like a little package together. Like, those things are fun, especially if like your friend really likes chili crisp or sriracha or that kind of thing. Spice mixes, spice blends, uh, sauce blends are really fun. And again, that's a fun thing to go, hey, I bought this for you. Why don't we cook together and make this kind of, that kind of thing. So always a good idea. But again, buyer beware. You might just be buying them a thing that takes up space in the back of their kitchen for the next 15 years until they move. All right. Of the month clubs, I've seen a lot of people doing those. That person's really got to be in the fucking beef jerky. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of shit I would get for my son, and he'd be like, that's fucking amazing. But like, he loves beef jerky because he's a weird monster person. And I mean, not that I don't like jerky, but he's kind of obsessed with it. So be careful when you're doing an of the month thing, because again, that could just be a thing that just piles up in their pantry and they just don't like it. So just consider it, and there you go. Oh, always restaurant gift cards. Buy local. Any restaurant that your friend or your partner or whoever you're buying for likes, that's always a great idea. To buy a gift card to a local restaurant. Another thing is, like, buy a gift card to Safeway or something with the promise of, hey, let's make a dinner together. Cooking classes are always fun. I will be teaching another cooking class in a month at the Creative Alliance in Baltimore. If you like chili, I'm going to be teaching a class on how to make a big old mess of sort of what I like to call Baltimore style chili. Yes, it has beans in it. But cooking classes are always fun, especially if you're going to take it with them. And, because nobody likes to take a cooking class by themselves. I mean, unless they're the kind of person that likes it. Most people don't. Like, that's kind of like, hey, let's go do this thing. But again, make sure you know what you're getting into. Some places treat you like babies. Some people treat you like ding dongs. Other people treat you like you should know what the fuck you're doing. And that's even worse sometimes because everybody doesn't want, like, yeah, of course I cook, but then, the class is a little bit, a little too advanced for some people or whatever, so just make sure you know what you're getting into. All right, I'm gonna get into some of these cooking um like gift guides, and I'm just gonna go through some of these real quick. I'm on this one's from Food and Wine, and they have some really interesting ones. They got like a pepper cannon, which, okay, like, it's $200 fucking. Do you want to pay $200 for a fucking pepper cannon? Ugh. They call them pepper cannons, not a pepper grinder, because it does so much at the same time. But you know what also works? Take your fucking peppercorns and just put them in a spice grinder and boom, done. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I always grind my pepper and then just put it into like one of those little wooden salt cellars, and I don't do a zillion pounds of it at a time, so it goes stale because pepper will go stale on you, but it'll last a month, you know. And if you just take it like 2 or 3 tablespoons at a time, and then you have fresh pepper to just pinch out as you need it, it's great. Don't buy a fucking pepper cannon. And God forsake, don't buy a fucking $200 pepper cannon because that's ridiculous. Um, they have these fancy olive oils from Rouxde, which are really nice. I've heard nothing but good stuff about them. They're pretty expensive, but they have a sizzle and a drizzle. So the sizzle's the cooking one, and drizzle's like a finishing extra virgin. They're both extra virgin, but one's slightly greener for like really hitting it at the end. I've heard good things about them. Olive oil's always a good thing to give as a gift. Again, make sure it's fresh. Make sure it's good. Don't get like, a lot of people buy olive oil and gift it to people, and it's fucking already old and awful. There is an electric kettle here that is $165. That's ridiculous. You can go and get, I mean, this one's really stylish and really cool looking. It's a conversation piece. If you don't have an electric kettle, you should have an electric kettle. It's incredible. If you make, a quick cup of coffee that you kind of brew yourself, it's great. For me, a person who drinks tea, it's absolutely amazing. But I use it for other things. Like if I'm making Jello, it's just really easy to have, heat up real quick in the kettle. Not that I make that much Jello, but like for steeping peppers, for making salsas, like that's incredible. Like it's really easy to just have it, boom, heats up water really quick. Doesn't take up space on your stove if you're making dinner, that kind of thing. And you can get a really good one for $30. $165 for a water kettle is kind of crazy. This thing's a monstrosity. It's a solid marble multi-tiered fruit bowl. Look, it's $300. You got to have the house for something like this. I live in a row home. We don't have a lot of space. I don't have space for a fucking solid marble multi-tiered fruit bowl. Also, I keep my fruit in the fridge like a normal person. I don't live in a weird arid place, like, I don't know. This is a thing for people who like fucking marble tiered fruit bowls. It's a little crazy. Here we go. The Dow Strong 9-inch Obliterator meat cleaver. It's normally $272, but it's on sale for $179. Oh, good for us. This thing, it will be, I guarantee you, fucking dad's gonna love it. Like every asshole dad who likes to show off horse shit, manly cooking utensils is gonna get this thing. It looks like it's from the future. It's got a bunch of bevels. It looks like it's really sharp in all the wrong places. The handle looks comfortable. I'll give it that. But I've read a lot of reviews about this fucking monstrosity. And the two downsides I always read about is that it's overly heavy, which, to be fair, in a meat cleaver, you want it to be heavy because you want it to go through bone. But the other thing is that it's not sharp. And this thing looks like it's sharp in the front and sharp in the bottom and sharp in the corners. Like, seriously, look up the Dow Strong 9-inch Obliterator meat cleaver. It looks like a fucking asshole machine. And it comes with a wooden stand, which, yeah, great. Put that on your fucking counter and, let's take up some more space. This thing makes me angry. You can get a really good meat cleaver for $50, and this thing's stylized to look like the fucking, Cybertruck of knives. So that can go right in the trash. Bachan's sauce bundle, hell yeah, they make great Japanese barbecue sauces. $24, do it up. This is not a sexy thing, but if you have cast iron and or enamel and or steel pans, Lodge makes a pan scraper. Fucking thing's less than $10. It is the best. Like, we have one. We don't have this one. This one's like their new fancy model, but it's just a piece of plastic basically that won't rip your seasoning off of your cooking utensil, but it gets fried up bits or brown bits or things that are kind of scorched onto there up and off of your cooking surface without really, like, it's okay to use soap on cast iron and all that stuff, but you don't want to use a lot. You don't want to really scrub it super hard because you will scrub off that seasoning. So this kind of goes in as a precursor to your wipe down with the sponge. So that's a great stocking stuffer right there. That thing's fucking badass. Here's a thing of like different salts. I don't recommend that. Salt in general, yes, but you don't need smoked salt. You don't need thyme salt. You know how you make thyme salt? Yeah, you just mix fucking salt and chopped up thyme together. Thyme salt. Lava salt, sure, like if you want, but it's kind of goofy. Waffle makers. I love a waffle. The waffle makers are so bulky. They're so hard to clean. They're such a pain in the ass. And I had a waffle maker for years, and we rarely used it because it was such a pain in the ass to actually use. And it messy and it spilled shit all over the place. I've yet to find a waffle maker that I would want in my house because, again, are you really fucking eating waffles that much that you need a waffle maker? That's why we're a pancake house, I suppose. Which is funny because I don't eat pancakes. If given the choice, I'll take waffles. But I can't. Waffle makers are too much. It's too much. Let me see. They have some pretty wild shit. That, like a champagne saber, of course, right? Who doesn't want a champagne saber? Oh, this thing's only $99. It's pretty sweet. Looks like a kind of like a short pirate sword. Again, are you really going to be opening up that much fucking champagne in your house with a saber that you need a champagne saber? Probably not. And okay, so here's a salt thing that I would recommend. If you're not familiar with Maldon salt, Maldon, they make a fancy specific kind of salt that is shaped like a pyramid, because of the way that they evaporate their salt. It's really flaky. It's very salty. It has a very briny, because I think it's a sea salt. But it has a very certain flavor. It's a finishing salt. This is what you put on your steak at the end, or if you want the fancy flick of salt over your thing. Maldon makes a really good product, and you can buy a bucket of that shit for like $25. It's great. There's a bucket they have at one of the Italian stores, specialty stores by our house, called Di Pasquale's, and my son just covets it so much. He's a salt monster as well. Oh, here's the Fly by Jing thing. So it's their Mala spice mix, which actually is fucking incredible. Their chili crisp, which is really good, and their zong sauce, which is awesome as well. Like, I highly recommend it. I've bought this set before because I wanted to try their stuff, and I was not let down. The chili crisp is really good. It's not really spicy, but it's good. Like, it's not super blow your face off. The Mala spice mix is just good on anything. Like, any kind of meat, it's fucking great for. And the zong sauce is awesome on noodles and shit at the end. And this one comes with a little wooden spoon for serving. Um, the one thing that I always see in these fucking gift guides, and it's always like, for the serious coffee person in your life, and it's shit like this. That's a Technivorm Mocha Master KM5 Burr coffee grinder, and it's fucking $350. Uh, you know what? I just got a spice grinder. My wife makes coffee, and she's a maniac about coffee, and she does her own coffee. Um, she's so much of a maniac that she actually likes uh, they're kind of like the K cup things, but it's not K cups. It's the net Nespresso things. Yeah, but she uses reusable Nespresso pods, and she fills her own up. That's how fucking crazy she is about coffee. Um, and she really likes it. But she just uses a regular spice thing, like because you don't need to you don't need to have this thing just sitting like it's so big, and this thing that grinds that I'm looking at right now, the Technivorm Mocha Master. I'm sure if you want people to think of you as a serious coffee person, you can do that. Good on you. Again, takes up a lot of space. Yeah, does the one thing. I'm sure after 2 weeks, it just looks dirty on the inside because coffee beans have so much oil in them that if you've ever seen like a coffee grinder at like your barista and shit, like those things never look good. They just look dirty as fuck, and that's because the oil from the beans just gets on the side and then all the powdery stuff and whatever. Um, Here's a weird thing. It's a apple core. It's very specifically an apple core, and it's like you could just use a knife. Just cut the fucking apple in half. Cut the half in half, and then just cut that little triangle off there, and you've just cored your apple. Do it 4 times, you're done. Here's a $230 seltzer maker. You don't need that. You can just get one of the cheapy guys. This is really sexy and really, sparkling and silver and glass bottles. And I have a glass bottle seltzer water maker. I recommend that over the plastic, but you don't need to spend all that. So whatever floats your boat. I don't give a shit. Electric wine openers. You know what? If you're an older person, if you're gifting your older parents or in-laws or whatever, that might be, because some of them have a harder time with their hands, or a person who, doesn't have the best grip strength. These things actually work really well. And, you get these things now for like under $30. This one looks really nice. It's $25. It's the Oziri Travel Series electric wine opener. For a person who likes wine, go for it. Yeah. And that's kind of their list. And I'm going to go through a couple more things. Some of these are really like obnoxious, which is the ones that I really, really like. Like, there's this thing on one list. It's a professional ice bag and mallet for when you want to break your own ice up. Like if you want to be like a fancy mixologist, you know, and you want to crush your own ice, you break this thing out, and it's just a canvas bag with a hammer that looks like the thing in Midsommar where they smash that guy's head in. It's kind of like a smaller version of that. And then you put the ice in a bag and you just hammer that shit. So I hope you have good countertops, because that could fuck some shit up maybe. Yeah. There's all kind of like egg. It's always coffee things. Coffee grinders are crazy. Coffee makers are insanely expensive. Like, yeah, a vacuum sealer. I recommend a vacuum sealer. Those are pretty cool. There's all kind of different ones you can get. Anova makes a really good one. A couple other people make good ones. Look, do your research into some of those things, because some of them are really not good. There's a very expensive grain and rice cooker that KitchenAid makes. That's fucking crazy. again, you gotta really be into rice to like want to do some fucking crazy shit like that. Let me see. Oh, let me go over to the Sur La Table thing. So they got some wild ass shit. So their most expensive thing, surprise, it's an automatic coffee machine. It's $5,200 normally, but you're in luck. It's on sale for $4,399.99. So you're you're good. Uh, their top three things are all espresso, coffee. Like the first thing's a coffee maker. It's not even an espresso maker. The other two are over $2,000 in their espresso makers, and then yeah, geez, so much of this stuff, barista touch, espresso makers, and then of course there's like full ass sets of uh stainless steel all clad, of course. That stuff's really expensive. um all these uni pizza things are really expensive too, and a lot of people have been getting those, like those like little tabletop pizza ovens. I've heard good things about them, but I'm not gonna put one in my house. Some of them are gas powered, and I'm sure it's for outside. And I've seen them; they look cool, but there's something about them I just can't get with. I think it's just maybe the size of them. Like I don't even know where I would put that in my backyard. Again, live in a row home, don't have a big backyard. I have a grill. Um, there's an indoor smoker that's fucking stupid. That thing's $700. Normally 1,000. So hey, um, why would you have an indoor smoker? That that makes no fucking sense. Um, a Vitamix, $650. Okay, I have one. Is one of the best things I ever bought. Um, they are incredible. You could take, you know, you could blend a whole baby, or that's gross. A puppy, that's a piglet. Well, anyway, you can blend things in this thing, and it takes it, and it's incredible. I That's one thing I saved up for and bought, and was very happy with the purchase. And I bought a used one. I bought a refurbished one. You can buy them on their website, and it was still expensive. Uh, and their service is great because the carafe, the thing that you actually has the blender and the thing all in, really stopped working one day, and I called them up, or I sent them a email, and then they said, give us a call, we can run you through some things to sort of troubleshoot what's wrong. And they figured out that it was just the bearings in the bottom of the carafe, and they were like, don't worry about it, we'll send you a brand new one for free. And they did. And that, I was like, all right, Vitamix is awesome. But yeah, if you like very smooth sauces, Vitamix is the way to go. If you make smoothies, uh and I mean, seriously, it's a goddamn miracle machine. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. That's a blowout fucking Christmas present right there. Like, I will get you a Vitamix. That's some shit. But yeah, like, that's also like, save up and gift yourself some shit, because that stuff's really, really cool. Um, and the rest of these things, it's all like cast iron stuff. I will say that this is Sur La Table, and it's all like Le Creuset and uni, and like a lot of really, really, really expensive stuff. But I will say, if you go to the end of like their gift list, they have like a thing that's like under 10, under 25, under 50. Like, they're pretty good at that, and they have some pretty good um cheap-ish um uh enamel cookware, you know, s- some stuff that they have on sale and things like that. And Sur La Table is just normally good quality. Like, I'd take Sur La Table over Williams Sonoma any day. I find that they have better quality stuff. I think a lot of uh, Williams Sonoma is very much like, this is for your kitchen and you're never going to use it, but you're going to impress your friends with the way it looks. And don't get me wrong, Sur La Table's like that a lot. But I prefer Sur La Table stuff. Hand blenders are really cool. Thermo, like, okay, there are like thermometers out there, digital thermometers that are really, really good. I've had a bunch by one company, ThermoWorks, and I've not been happy with them. I know a lot of people have had really good experiences with them. All of mine have gone up within a year, and I've heard everybody raves about this company. I've not had, and I've gone through 3 or 4 different things. Their customer service is not great. I've had really bad experiences with them. But I would recommend getting a digital thermometer because it's really important. I've asked for a new digital thermometer for Christmas because the one I got, and to be fair, I got their thermopop thing a couple years ago, and it lasted a couple years, but it went up. I don't know why. It's not like I'm taking a bath with it and temping my bath water. Although now I kind of really want to do that. But I would recommend getting a digital thermometer just because they're fun. Fun little stocking stuffers, a microplane. Microplanes are awesome. They're very, you can use the hell out of those things. Champagne stopper. There's a thing everybody needs. No, don't buy those. They're fucking goofy. But yeah, a booze board. I don't recommend. They're fucking expensive. Again, that's a person who likes to show off, like, I have a booze block. Most people don't cut on them because they're afraid they're going to screw up their really expensive $100 cutting board. Like, it's crazy. And I think you've gotten the gist of kind of where I'm going. Like, it's better to be thoughtful than to be expensive most of the time. And, does everybody want a KitchenAid that cooks? Yeah, pretty much. Does everybody have a place for it? No. Do you have the money to get them one? Probably not. They're expensive things to buy. They're like, let's save up kind of things. And that's okay to have. And it's also good to give a gift certificate towards a thing. Like, I know you've been thinking about this. Here's $50 to put towards it. Like, that's really cool. And that's how I buy a lot of things, mainly for if I want, musical instruments and shit like that. But a lot of times, it's nice to get a gift card for things that you can buy for yourself. Like a couple years I got like a little tea pot thing that's just like, it's like made out of, it's from Bodum, and it's just this really nice little thing, and it was probably cost $30, and I use it all the time for loose tea. That kind of thing's great. But like, that's the kind of thing, if I was given a gift certificate, I would see that and be like, that's perfect. I have a gift certificate. You know what I mean? Like, so just be thoughtful. Don't think that you have to spend a lot of money. Sometimes just being creative is better than, spending a bunch of money that might be unnecessary, And again, think of the person that you're buying for. What are they into? What do they like? What are their favorite things to eat and or make? And then also, what's their kitchen like? Do they have a big kitchen? They have a little kitchen, maybe you can get that fucking crazy coffee grinder and put it somewhere in their kitchen. It doesn't take up a lot of space because they have a giant counter or multiple counters. Some people do. I don't. So think about it that way. Okay. I will be back next week. Probably not by myself, but I think we are going to talk about disastrous Christmases and just have fun, just talking shit about the times that we've had not having the best time, and then read some other people's stories. And I'm going to reach out to the listeners on our Facebook group. And hey, if you're listening to this and you want to send in your story of woe and tragedy that we can all share and laugh about, get in touch with me at rudecookingschool@gmail.com. That would be awesome. I'd love to hear from you. I would love to read your story and we can all commiserate, and because we all have those stories. And it's the time of year to just start winding down and relaxing and having a really good time. So until next week, I'm John Hauser III. Don't yuck my yum. Please rate, review us wherever you are listening to us. Share with your friends and your family. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next week for the Rude Cooking School. Peace.